All right, guys. With me, I have the winning team Planet Smashers and Ziltoid representing them. So, first off, congratulations on the domination victory, both in terms of NGS semantics of what a domination is and in literal gameplay domination. I mean, your team's name pretty much manifesting there in its full entirety of smashing some faces. And yeah, how do you guys feel after that series?
Well, because you casted our last one, we kind of had an upsetting loss in game one versus Rainbow Spectrum.
Yep.
So we just wanted to make sure that coming into the next match and the next week that we kind of showcase a little bit more about what we can do.
Yeah, I think showcase is a little bit of an understatement here. I feel like the play we saw was in a different division entirely. Now, it could also be if you finish the standings and look out into the future of 10 weeks, maybe Hello Team is actually towards the bottom of the standings once it's all said and done. And you guys are near or at the top. So, I mean, obviously, that difference, even within the division, you're going to have a lot of games. But this seemed like another level. Just how well executed, how much macro, the combinations that you guys were able to pull off with those wombo combos. And just how well you guys draft in general seems like another division entirely of how you're approaching these games.
So I appreciate that. Our goal is to improve well and beyond, and hoping we can maintain this level of play against any future teams. But we're not going into any match underestimating anyone. They're always going to get our A game.
Yeah, I mean, a zero kill game, and I guess two feeders
At least
at the
that two
last.
at the end, yeah.
Yeah, two feeders for the last one. I'd
Yeah.
say that's definitely not underestimating, especially like when you guys can make more risky plays. You're like, we're so far ahead, we're not going to risk anything. We're just going to go continue our lead and continue smashing because
Yeah.
otherwise, why are we planet smashers?
Yeah. Well, Volsky is definitely a map we like to play, and I'm gonna say that the target ban on me on my on the second game was a mistake. They needed to go after the Stukov because Bandinger landed some just insane combos with his lurking arm and his E as well, and just won us so many of those fights. It was just, yeah, they banned the Stukov the first time. They probably should have done it the second time.
Yeah, I mean, Bandringer basically interrupted every mosh pit almost immediately. And on top of that, like the kill on Satellite Jack's Phoenix, basically Bandringer dropping that silence ensured the kill before he could port on out. It
Yeah,
was just very solid play. To be fair, all around in the team, there's lots of credit due for everyone in how well you guys played across the board.
I appreciate that. And hopefully, any future games you cast will only continue to get better, and that is always our goal. So, we want to take on the best teams we can. We want to become better players, better teammates, and a better team. So, every week we're working hard. That's why we do, as we mentioned last time, 4 days a week, 3 hours a night, and everyone is showing up
Ooh.
and doing their part. And I have never been on a team that's been that committed. Where my subs don't get to play because none of my regular teammates miss anything. Although tomorrow's an exception, I will actually be off as it's my birthday. So
Well, happy birthday. I guess this is an early birthday present to win.
absolutely, yeah. But I'm gonna spend almost all of tomorrow playing World of Warcraft.
So, aside from World of Warcraft, have you guys been practicing the combo between Maiev, Diablo, and Decker Kane? I mean, I was amazed at how well you guys were disciplined at not waking anyone up with the Warden's Cage in tow, and then just kind of uh, knocking them against the walls, tearing them apart at that point.
Amusingly, we don't commonly combo Deckard with that composition. Most of the time, we take Stukov.
Okay.
So, but Banringer has definitely put a lot of work into Decker Kane, and as
Mhm.
everyone knows right now, a really well played Decker Kane is probably the scariest thing in Heroes of the Storm right now.
Yeah. Between his disengage, the playmaking setup, and it showed in that first game. The
Yeah,
stay out while
supports are
and
powerful
listens.
right now. Yeah,
Yeah. The top supports are definitely really powerful, which is, in my personal opinion, this is how the game should have been from day one.
I agree.
Supports should feel like playmakers. Unfortunately, this creates a kind of conundrum situation amongst the community. It's a little bit off topic, but I feel like it creates a lot of players who are upset that Decker Kane's so powerful, but it feels like everyone's power level should be up to there rather than where, someone like a Lily is, for instance.
I think what we're really hitting here is an instance of Decker Kane being a well-designed hero from the ground up.
Hmm.
And basically, even in this particular situation, you could probably nerf the cooldowns of his abilities, which I think at this point is really the only way you can really kind of try to bring him down a bit. But I still feel like, all that's going to do is kind of what Snitch was saying happened with Maya players, which is even though they nerfed the cooldowns, it only really affected bad players on
Yep.
those particular heroes. So, maybe they should take that step just to maybe make him less um make it not so easy for him to carry games especially into the mid late game, but at the same time, that's kind of been the thing here with Decker Kane is I think he's just really well designed. He has weaknesses as well, but if you know how to use those strengths of the hero, it is definitely something. That's why we've actually taken to banning it a lot
Hmm.
in our matches.
It makes sense because I'm sure you guys have watched some of the Western Clash, if not all of the Western
Yep.
Clash, and Decker Kane was by far the most popular support in the game, like by a landslide. Of course, like he actually didn't have the highest win rate of those supports. He had the same win rate as Stukov, who was significantly less popular, but still more popular than over half of the support roster. So, like, if you look at that.
Again, I think you see the strength of individual players in
Mhm.
that situation. On Zalia on that Decker Kane was insane during Western Clash, and eventually no one was letting him get it. So
Yeah.
there's reasons for that. So anyone out there looking to main a role, good supports in NA is something we really need. And the more we start seeing of that, the stronger our region will become in general. Tanks and supports, we need good of both of those.
So, have you guys used Western Clash as a way to gauge what kind of comps you should run, how you should potentially run them, along with like strategies on the maps?
If you want to improve as a competitive team, whether you're amateur, HGCO, or anything like that, watching better people and better teams is the best way that you can figure out how to do that. So I feel that it's almost a requirement that if you truly want to um, understand the game properly, then analyzing the best people that play in the world is the best way. So utilize your Master League, utilize your um, you know, uh, watch the games too as well because you get information from that. It's not just statistics or whatever the case is, but the replays themselves.
Hmm.
This will enable you to see where you can improve as a player and as a team. Drafting is very hard. It's one of those things that can be very difficult for anyone to kind of grasp, especially when you have a new team and you're trying to figure out what elements work best with who. So it's something that we're constantly trying to work on and evolving on. I appreciate the applause that we get for drafting, but it's still something that I feel like we really need to put the time into to do as well. But drafting is not all it is.
Hmm.
Execution is very important. So when you find a comp that works for you, you need to practice it.
So, what do you guys feel like the biggest change from last week to this week is for you? As obviously, you said your team is very serious, putting in a lot of time, a lot of effort to be both better players and a better team.
For the beginning, again, it was a rough ride to get the right people,
Hmm.
personalities, dedication. Those things matter sometimes a lot more than even just mechanical skill, because
Mhm.
those are things you can work on. Those are things you can improve with a player or a team. So, we're finally past our first kind of week. We're into our second week. We've been consistently scrimming and working with the squad that we have now. And so I feel that as long as we are together as a team, consistently working together, and we're putting in that same time, we can only get we're only going to evolve as a team and get better. So,
Yep.
this is our second week as a full roster squad together. So, hopefully in, 6 weeks from now, you'll see even a different team from that as well. But hopefully
Yeah.
better, not worse.
That's obviously the goal, not to go down, but I'm sure based on how you guys are performing so far that you will continue to go up. The only thing to be concerned about is as long as you continue to scrim people who you'd consider better than you, then you'll keep going up. The biggest problem in my experience is if you scrim people who are not either at roughly your level or above. Then you start a kind of developing bad habits because you're not forced to deal with uh, better opponents who will not allow you to get away with those things.
Oh yeah, 100%. Always scrim up if you can. Scrimming down is good to be kind of helpful to other teams too as
Mhm.
well in those situations. So, don't turn someone down just because they're a Div E team. You can get value out of scrimming things like that. I mean, if you feel like you're a more powerful team anyways, you can just run things that you maybe wouldn't run versus more powerful teams to see if they'd work or kind of how they work together or synergize, because scrim practice is the best practice time, right?
Yep.
So when it comes down to it, if you can scrim up, that's better. You also have people around you. Again, shout out to John Night One, who's been coaching quite a bit for us actually the last few days, and I think some of the advice that he's actually been able to put out to us really kind of helped us narrow down kind of what we needed to do, especially mechanically, and then even how we look at drafts and stuff like that. So, surrounding yourself with the right people is the best way to improve, and you should do your best to do that. Making good relationships with people and working with them to improve your own play is the best way to do it.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think a lot of people don't realize how much they get out of either better teams or better players giving advice, even
Yeah.
if it's in a scrim or if it's on a coaching session. Having a third party look at things independently really shines a light for a lot of teams to understand what they need to do. And hopefully, more teams take advantage of. There's actually a lot of people in the community who either want to provide coaching on a one on one basis or want to provide coaching for a team. And so people should definitely take that opportunity, such as you guys did. Even if you're semi casual, like if you're playing in NGS, you've already taken the step, I feel, of being less than just a regular casual player. You want to play for fun. Maybe you want to play more competitively, but obviously losing every game in a league is probably not the most exciting thing. So at least getting some hints or help from someone would definitely be advised.
Absolutely. And you know what? You have to lose before you can win. So even if you're losing, even if just take the loss, look at what you can do better and try to improve the next day.
Yep.
Losing is what most of us have had to do before we could actually start securing wins. I've had a long run in the kind of amateur competitive scene, and I can tell you most of my experience has been losing. So just keep your chin up, keep going for it, all that kind of stuff. NGS has tons of resources to help you become better, and there's lots of
Mhm.
other resources out there. Heroes of the Storm, they say, doesn't have not a lot of support or information, but I disagree. I think there's tons of resources that people have to pull onto. You just have to know where to go and to actually take those steps to utilize it. Running quick match on a hero constantly over and over and over again doesn't teach you the same things as watching a professional replay scrim with your team.
Yeah. So before we head off, I want to give you the floor to once again give shout outs. And like I said, congratulations on your victory.
Shout out to my team. We played wonderfully today. Shout out to Hello Team. Thank you for coming today. I know that they had to run kind of an off roster sub, so I know it can be difficult sometimes when you don't have the same synergy or level of communication. Hopefully, you guys can get that sorted out, and it'll be easier for you, going on into the rest of it. Just keep trying, and you'll win games. Just get your whole roster together, and it'll probably be all right. Anyways, but you guys did well, anyways. On top of that, again, the Regen boys, they are good at keeping us up in scrims and stuff like that. Again, John Knight, for doing the coaching for us recently has been a lot of help. And that's pretty much it, other than for you, Akuma. Thank you for the second cast we have. We actually have another game on Thursday versus Spicy Boys. And that's going to be actually casted by Murda. So if anyone wants to show up and watch that game, hopefully we'll also have a very good showing there as well.
Yeah, best of luck to you in your next game on Thursday, and thanks so much for the interview. And best of luck in the rest of your series this season.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me this evening. But just a quick plug for myself. You can check me out at Twitter and on YouTube. I have all the VODs for all the games I cast. I'm getting better. I've actually programmed stuff to make my life easier to do the replays and highlights and getting the VODs out there quicker for people, since copying and pasting and editing by hand is a pain in the ass. So I just programmed some stuff to make my life easy. So aside from that, I also do team coaching. I do it in a colleague-like format of NGS community coaching designed for teams, and I usually spend about an hour and a half and potentially more time depending on how much there is to talk about in a replay. But if anyone's interested, hit me up and I'd be more than happy to do that as well. In fact, if I actually had enough people doing it, I'd reduce the amount of casts to do more community coaching in place of that. But before we head on off, we're going to see some more replays from that last series, and then I'll kick you on over to someone else if you're going to keep on staying up, since it's already 12:50 if you're on the East Coast, or if you're on the West Coast. You still have plenty of time to chill out this evening. And yeah, I'll kick you on over to someone. Probably no one else is casting at this point, so it'll be dealer's choice here. So thanks again, everyone, for joining me. I hope to see you in future casts, because I don't care if you hit follow buttons, I care if you come back. That's significantly more important to me than a count of follows. Ultimately, I'd love to have, double-digit cats all the time, and it seems like we are growing NGS as a community in terms of people who are viewing these casts. And so yeah, I'd love to be hitting 30, 40 viewers regularly, and we're already up to generally 20 to 30 for some of the more hyped up matches. So hopefully we'll get some more people here, and thanks again so much. And remember, replays coming up right now.